Hey, it's John Allopick. Welcome back to the show, and welcome to my 10 favorite songs from 2003. This is an accompaniment that I do for my appearance on Cretan Classics, where a panel of us talk about our 12 favorite songs from a particular year, and yes, we go chronological. So, what I do on here is I give you my 10 favorite songs, and I also give you my 20 honorable mentions for 2003. So, let's get started. My number 10 is a band that I've talked about quite often here on YouTube, on a lot of music channels. There'll be a lot of bands that I talk about often in this 10 favorites from 2003, although the numbers 2 and 1 will be bands that I have seldom or never spoken about before, but I've always talked about Living Color. And this is from the album Kaleidoscope, and I'm going with the opening track, Song Without Sin. This was Living Color's first album in 10 years. And this was an album that took a long time to really grow on me. It's still my least favorite album by them. They only have 6 albums, but all their albums are good to fantastic. And this is in the good category. The opening track, Song Without Sin, for my money, is nearly as good an opener as their iconic song, Cults of Personality, the song that opened up the Vivid album from '88. But this is a heavier song than that is. Doesn't have as many hooks, but it still brings you in it, and it really, really kicks ass. Wonderful performance by the band. Corey Glover's vocal on here is excellent. This is just a call to arms. It just really, really brings you to attention. It's a kick-ass track. This is my number 10, Song Without Sin by Living Color. Number 9, I talked about this band in 2002. They had my favorite song from 2002, my favorite era of this band as well. This is Dream Theater from their album Train of Thought, and I'm going with the song As I Am, another opening track here. This is when they really got heavier. They added some new metal to their sound, and they were detuning their guitars, I believe. So this is my favorite era. 6 Degrees Inner Turbulence, Train of Thought, Octavarium, Systematic Chaos. That's my Dream Theater. Although I love Awake from '94 as well, and of course Images and Words from '92. But this is very, very cool, very heavy. A lot of great riffs in here. Wonderful vocal from James LaBrie as usual. Fantastic track. Very, very heavy, but it's very catchy and accessible, even though it's long. This is my number 9, As I Am by Dream Theater. Number 8, one of my favorite bands. This is the last studio album that they made, and they're not going to make any more because there's only one surviving member of the original band. This is the Allman Brothers Band from their album Hitting the Note. I'm going with The High Cost of Low Living. I always say long living, it's low living. High Cost of Low Living. This is a song Greg Allman co-wrote. When you read the lyrics and you know his story, this is autobiographical. High Cost of Low Living is a very reflective song, looking back on mistakes that you made in the past. I mean, a lot of us can relate to that, right? But it's very, very catchy. Has a great chorus to it. Very, very mid-paced, laid back. Wonderful solos on here. Very, very tasty solos. Taste particularly at the end of the track. Very, very cool. Very strong album by the Allman Brothers Band. Probably my favorite from their second comeback, which would have started with 1997 Turns. This is my number 8, the Allman Brothers Band with The High Cost of Low Living. Number 7, an artist I've talked about almost every year since about 1991 or so. This was one of his last albums because he passed away in 2005. This is Chris Whitley from his album Hotel Vast Horizon, going with the song Frontier. Now, if you hear this album, if you've never heard it, it's very mellow, more like acoustic jazz, but Chris is playing guitar on here. Mellow album, except for one track called Insurrection at Newtown, which has more of a like almost like a rap feel to it, and it's not the way it's sung, but in its beat. The rest of the album is very mellow and very jazzy. And Frontier is very addictive and very sultry. By this point, Chris was singing with the power that he used to. I think the lung cancer may have been affecting him at this point, and that would take him away from us 2 years ago, 2 years later in 2005. But this is very, very addictive. It's very mid-paced. The guitar lines on here are very addictive. You could sing it, these guitar lines. And the solo is just the same rhythm as that you have throughout the song, but just a very addictive song, very mellow, laid back, and just very memorable. My number 7 is Chris Whitley with Frontier. Number 6, it's my favorite band, and I won't get another chance to talk about them until I do my 10 favorite from 2012. This is Little Feat from their album, Kicking It at the Barn. And I'm going with the first single from the album, Heaven Forsaken. This is the last album that had Sean Murphy doing a lot of vocals, and her harmonies with Paul Barrera, who does the lead vocal on here, is very, very cool. This is very laid back, very NOLA, New Orleans feel to it, and has a wonderful chorus on here. It has a bit of a gospel feel to it along with that NOLA feel, but is just a very well-written, very well-crafted song. Definitely one of the highlights on this album. A lot of this album's really, really mellow, but when this works, it works very, very well. There are a lot of great songs on here. So this is my number 6, Little Feat with Heaven Forsaken. And number 5, band I've been listening to since high school. It's a long time ago. This was the last album this band made, and they're probably not going to make another album because one of the duo of this band has passed away. In fact, a year after I got to see them. This is Steely Dan from the album Everything Must Go, and I'm going with the song Godwhacker. It's got a very sensual, addictive guitar riff to it. And it's funky, but it's funky Steely Dan way, which is different than most bands. It's more of like a light funk, but it's just very addictive song. We got wonderful interplay on here, great lyric, great vocal performance here from Donald Fagen. We got great harmonies, great call and response between Donald and the backing vocals on here. Very, very cool. Good album too. Maybe my least favorite Steely Dan album, but all Steely Dan's good Steely Dan to me. This is my number 5, Steely Dan with Godwhacker. Number 4, none of my favorite bands, and this is also from my least favorite album by the band, but is still a good album. This is King's X from the album Black Like Sunday, going with the title track, which is a burner. Now, this album is re-recordings of their songs from when they were sneak preview back in 1980 to 86 or so. A lot of the album, I think, is hurt by some of the lyrics on it, but this song is just a wicked groove monster. Very addictive. Doug's vocal on here is fantastic. Great groove, wonderful guitar lines on here. Just kicks ass and takes names. One of my favorite songs by King's X. This is my number 4, King's X with Black Like Sunday. My number 3 is another one of my favorite songwriters of my lifetime. This is Lou Reed from the album The Raven. And the song I'm going with is Who Am I, Tripitina's song. Now, this is a album that Lou Reed wrote about The Raven. He wrote about the life of Edgar Allan Poe. And there's a 1-disc version and there's a 2-disc version. This is what I'm holding here. If you can get your hands on a 2-disc version, if you can get it at a reasonable price, do it, because the 2-disc version is the one to get. It feels more like a play than it does an album, and it's just a wonderful listening experience. Who Am I is a song that eventually any one of us can relate to because it's about mortality. And Lou has a wonderful vocal on here. And it starts out acoustic. He's talking about looking back on his life and what I could have done better and what I did right and all that. Very, very cool. And then it goes into the chorus, and that's when the drums and the orchestra kicks in. And I think the song goes to another level. It is wonderful. Just one of the better tearjerker songs that Lou Reed ever wrote. And he could write a great tearjerker when he had to. I mean, he was just a wonderful, versatile songwriter. And this is a very wonderful and versatile album. This is my number 3, Lou Reed, Who Am I? Tripatina song. Okay, my number 2, this artist or band I mentioned as an honorable mention. And that might have been 2000. First time making my 10 favorite songs, but this is a song of perseverance. And you know, I like to have a lot of those in my 10 favorite song list. This is Godsmack from their album Faceless. And I'm going with Realign, which is a scorcher. It is a killer. I love this riff on here. I love this delivery. It just brings you in. Love Sully's vocal on here. Love the chorus. It just kicks ass. Wicked solo on it. It is just a scorcher of a song that just comes in, just demands your attention. Godsmack was a band it took me a long time to get into, but I remember back in the day when this and I Stand Alone got played a lot. Same album. I think it's the song before this one on that album. On this album. And I remember I liked these songs so much, but it took me years and years to really go out and start buying their stuff. And I'm glad that I got Faceless. This is a kick-ass album. And this is a wonderful track. Kicks ass and takes names. This is my number 2, Godsmack with Realign. Now, my number 1, we're talking about songs of mortality, songs of perseverance, and this is a song of joy. I've never talked about this band before. Oh, wait, I did do an honorable mention. I stand corrected. This is Train from their album, My Private Nation. The song I'm going with is Calling All Angels, which was a huge hit, nearly on the level of Drops of Jupiter. When I listen to Train, I think they're like Cheap Trick, but they have less power in their pop music. And this is a wonderful band. They're just wonderful craftsmen. I love Pat Monahan's vocals on here. I just wanted to double check, make sure I got his name right. I'm not a big fan. This is the only album I own by them. So, but Pat sounds so much like Robin Zander. You close your eyes, he sounds like Robin Zander. There are so many great hooks on this song. The bridge on here is magnificent. The great call and response in the vocals is awesome. There's so many nice hooks. Wonderful song. I listened to this song from the first time I heard it. It always made me smile. And isn't that what it's all about? This is my number 1, Train, Calling All Angels. So, there you go. And just give you a recap of my 10 favorites. And then I'll give you my 20 honorable mentions. My number 10 is A Song Without Sin by Living Colour. My number 9 is As I Am by Dream Theater. My number 8 is High Cost of Low Living. High Cost of Low Living by the Allman Brothers Band. Always messed that up. Number 7 is Chris Whitley with Frontier. My number 6 is Little Feat with Heaven Forsaken. Oops. My number 5 is Godwhacker by Steely Dan. My number 4 is Black Like Sunday by King's X. My number 3 is Who Am I? Tripatina's Song by Lou Reed. My number 2 is Realign by Godsmack. My number one is Calling All Angels by Train. So let's get into the honorables. But before we do that, as typical, my 10 favorite song shows. This was close. Radiohead. From Hail to the Thief. There. Very cool track. This was close. Steve Winwood. Walking, Living, Breathing, Legend, From About Time, Chicano, For the Gypsies. Love this album. I love latter day Steve Winwood. The Steve Winwood albums that didn't really have hits, like this one and Nine Lives, I really, really love them. This is like Traffic meets Santana. It's a pretty cool album. This was close. Van Morrison, another one of my favorite singer-songwriters, from What's Wrong with This Picture and the song Evening in June. Excellent tune. And this was close. Another walking, living, breathing legend. That is John Hyatt. John Hyatt and the Goners, from Beneath This Gruff Exterior and Uncommon Connection. Now, let's go to Notepad so I can give you my other honorable mentions. Cheap Trick. I'm not high on the Special One album at all, but I do love the song Son of a Woman. It's very, very cool. Mo, from the album Wormwood. I used to play this song all the time there just to piss people off. Okay, all right. What a very memorable chorus, and a very, very well written and well developed. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. The Darkness, I Believe in a Thing Called Love. That is a wicked song. That one kicks ass. Iron Maiden, from the album Dance to Death. The track Montsegur. Very, very cool tune. I like this album a lot. This is probably along the same lines in quality as Somewhere in Time and Seven Son with Seven Son, in my opinion. This one goes out to Mark Daly, who loves pop music. I haven't talked to him in 20 years. I hope he still loves pop music. Maybe he doesn't. He loves Britney Spears. And he got me into that In the Zone album, which was okay, but Toxic, I'll admit, that was the big hit. Toxic's pretty cool. Fleetwood Mac, from the album Say You Will. We'll go with Peacekeeper. That was the single. That one I really dig. Neil Young and Crazy Horse, from the album Greendale. And I saw that tour up at Montage Mountain. Going with the track Carmichael. Very, very cool. Anthrax, the fourth and last album with the wonderful John Bush. The new Armored Saint album is out now. The song Safe Home, from the album We've Come for You All. It's very different for Anthrax. It's a very cool tune. The Yardbirds, from Birdland, Please Don't Tell Me About the Blues. Very, very cool tune. Remember hearing that song on the Mountain 102.3. Yeah, not Rock 107 WEZX FM. It was the Mountain. Jet, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? That was a very, very big hit, very popular track, very, very addictive. Warren Zevon, Disorder in the House. Another really cool and addictive song. Speaking of addictive songs, probably the most iconic song by White Stripes, maybe the most iconic song from 2003, Seven Nation Army. I mean, that riff, that just sticks in your head forever from the first time you hear it. Prayful, this is a jazz saxophonist. Very, very cool album. I picked it up from when I was a member of BMG Music Service. Song Underworld, really, really cool. Danny Warhols, We Used to Be Friends. That was a single, another really, really catchy track. Something's Missing, from John Mayer. I'm really getting more and more into John Mayer stuff all the time, but Something's Missing is very, very cool. And last but not least, Finger 11. This is One Thing, which is more of a reflective ballad. It's a really, really cool tune. So there you go. What are your favorite songs from 2003? Are some of mine amongst yours, or perhaps some others? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll talk to you soon.